drywall screws to hang up this panel without a permit. That's not gonna work. All right, so here's a nice and old panel that we are going to change out to 200 amps today. It is overhead fed, so we're gonna change out that riser. So one thing to keep in mind before you do an electrical panel upgrade is make sure that you have a permit. This is not something you wanna do without a permit or without your utility company knowing that you're doing it. So the first thing that we like to do is get our ground rods in the ground right away. If for some reason this roto hammer won't get it in and we can't beat it in, then we like to use our 60-pound jackhammer. But if the utility company has already shown up and turned all the power off, we can't use that one unless we go grab a generator. We're gonna drive this thing in the ground. Just in case you're wondering, the code allows us to drive the ground rods at a maximum of 45 degrees. It's always good to put them on an angle. It saves you a little bit when you're driving them. After you get the ground rods in the ground, you wanna make sure you run your number 4 bare all the way from ground rod to cold water out to the last ground rod over there. If you can see here, the utility company came out, they disconnected the weather head, cut all the connections out. So we are 100% dead. We are ready to get started. Even though I know it's disconnected up top, we still wanna take our meter out and double check. No voltage is present, so we're good. So the next thing that we wanna do is we wanna take every wire off of these breakers. As I take these off, I wanna label them. So I got white tape right here ready to go. So I'll pull the wire off, I'll label it. This was a 20 amp breaker. This was a 15 amp breaker. This is a 20 amp breaker. So we do that all the way down. We're also gonna check to make sure the wire size actually matches what the breaker size is. A lot of times we find that wire is on the wrong size breaker. So let's say a 14 gauge wire is on a 20 or 30 amp breaker. If it's not an AC unit or some other specific reason why they upsize the breaker, we need to make sure that we put the right size breaker on that wire. Another thing you want to pay attention to, sometimes white wires are landed on the breakers. In older houses and even in some new ones today, electricians use the white wire as the hot. You want to make sure that if that is taking place in your house, that you actually label that white wire as such. Otherwise, you're going to end up landing that white wire on the neutral bar, and you're not going to have 240 volts going to, let's say, your AC unit or whatever other piece of equipment takes 240 volt. After you get all the wires labeled, you want to cut loose the main feeders that are going up, and then you want to yank them up. Get that weather head out of there. We need to put a new roof jack up. We have to install a 2-inch riser now instead of the 1.25 inch that was in here before. So to get this out, what I usually do is I just cut down the side and then I go in a circle. Just like that. Then we get it off, and then we'll be able to slide our new flashing underneath the shingles. All right, so the next part is we want to measure the opening of our panel. So here we have 14.5 by about 43. So that's our height. But really we want to measure this flange because the flange has to make it all the way in. It's 44 inches. I usually break out an extra 6 inches so that we can get the wires into the top of the panel. The other thing is the utility in our area does not allow the meter to be below 48 inches. So what we do here is we measure up to center of the meter. It's 10 inches to center of the meter. So I know that the bottom of my panel can't be below 38 inches. So usually we put it at about 39 inches, maybe 40. So that we make sure that we're within the utility's specifications. So now that we've measured our panel and we know exactly where it needs to be, we're gonna come over to the wall and I'm gonna measure up to 39 inches right here. So that's the bottom of my panel, right from the dirt. And then I'm gonna go up my 50 inches and I'm gonna make a mark at the top. So I would do the width measurement here, but if you can see, this panel is really small. I don't know where the studs are yet, so we're gonna go ahead and slowly break this open width-wise so that we will know exactly where to put our new panel. What we'll do is we'll get the roto hammer out and we'll start breaking it out. One thing to keep in mind is you don't want to cut this with a grinder. Whoever's coming in to repair the stucco needs the chicken wire to weatherproof the panel after we're gone. So you don't wanna cut a clean cut because the stucco guy's just gonna have to open up more stucco anyways, which could potentially cost the customer or yourself, if you're doing this, more money. You can see here we use the roto hammer with this nice bit right here. Let me see the tip of that, Paul. It's just a flat bit, and it goes through the stucco really easy and gives us a nice clean line. So we found the studs on both sides. We made an outline on the stucco of where our new panel is going to go. A quick tip is on this side and on this side, make sure you open up past the stud just a little bit. If you just break the stucco out now, past the stud, then your new panel can just go right up in there. So we got the panel out, and now we need to drill a hole up through the roof so that we can put the new 2-inch rigid riser going up. So what we use is a really nice sized hole saw sized for the 2-inch rigid, and then we use a long extension, and that allows me to get this up in there and push and drill all the way through the roof. So to get the wires into the panel, there's these pre-cut knockouts right here. We've already knocked some of them out, but you just take a pair of dikes or some tool, needle nose, and you just break them out. After it's broken out, we take these little snap-in bushings and they just go right in the hole. Here's a 1/2-inch one, and they just snap right in. So the next step is you want to knock out all the way to the 2-inch knockout, because we have to put a 2-inch riser in there. All right, so once you get the panel in, you want to make sure that you use heavy-duty hex head screws. Inspectors have told me that he's seen guys trying to use drywall screws to hang up this panel. That's not going to work. So we want to use these big screws. Make sure you put a level on the top of the panel to make sure that you're level. Sometimes these studs are not level and there's really nothing we can do to change it, but try your best. Sometimes there's a little play that we can move back and forth. So just put a level up there, double check that you're at least close. When you're setting your new flashing, you want to lift up an old shingle, slide it under there and line it up with your hole that you drilled. And then I like to just cut right around where that's going to go, just like that. And then I just use a piece of 3/4 inch conduit that I flattened out. And you want to make sure you get the mastic underneath all the way around, so you get a nice watertight seal before you slide it up under the shingle. So make sure it's all lathered on there, really heavy. And then I try and leave it lifted up so it doesn't get all over the roof, and set it down nice and firm right where I need it, just like that. When you're plugging up the old hole, you want to make sure you do the same thing. Get a bunch of this on there. It's going to kind of act as glue. Lift your shingle up right underneath here as well. Just get a bunch of it under there in these cracks. All right, so when you're connecting the weatherhead, you want to make sure that the 2 screws here and here are even. You don't want one side all slammed and then this side wide open. You get your wires up here, you bend them nice and clean, you knock out your holes right here, and then you just put the cap on and then tighten them down. Once you have your new riser in, you can pull your conductors down. You can see here, I already have the red and the white landed. We're going to land the black here. I want to show you how to do it. So you want to bend your conductor without going over the bending radius of the wire, and then get it lined up. I already cut it exactly where I need. So then I mark it out with my thumb, and I come out, take my blade very carefully. You don't want to score the copper. Just a nice, easy cut across, and then strip the wire, pull off the sheathing, just like that. And then I just take an impact to get them set, just a little bit, so we're good to go. And then we're gonna torque them. So right here we see line lugs, phase and neutral. 4 to 250 copper. Ours is 3/0, is 250 inch-pounds. So we're gonna take that 250 and divide it by 12, and that's gonna give us what we need to torque, because my torque wrench right here is foot-pounds. So you take 250 inch-pounds divided by 12, gives you foot-pounds. So I got my torque set to the proper torque, and we're gonna just ratchet these down until we hear the click on the torque wrench. There it is. There it is. There it is. I like to take it and shake it a little bit, and then go back over them all one more time just to make sure. Yep, see, just a little bit more. A little bit more. Then the other thing you really want to look into is all in here. These come from the factory torqued, but I've had it where it shows that it's torqued, they marked them out, but they're actually loose. So you need to double check that. Once we're done torquing, We want to get in here and mark them out that they've been torqued so the inspector can see that. Just like this, right there. A real nice feature in this panel is this tunnel kit right here. It covers the conductors all the way through the panel until it gets into its own compartment where we land the wires. It's pretty cool. So once you have your main conductors landed and everything's closed back up, you can start making up all your circuits, put all your breakers in, make sure that you train your wires nice and clean so that they look really good. And that's it. Make sure everything's labeled. You can see the weather head's done. We're tied in. Utility company turned us back on. There we go. Don't mess it up, Steven. Crazy, dude. Snapped it right off. I messed up. Don't try this at home. Hire a licensed electrician. Looks like they got it bent right. Got it. Let's get to the job. Gotta go upgrade that panel today. All right, let's get going. We're here. One thing I always like to do is when we're doing these panel upgrades, is make sure we have all the materials. So I think through every single step and make sure that I have every material that I need and then all the tools that I need, and we get them set up on the cart ready to go so we can just go step by step and we're not spending a million trips back and forth to the truck. Here's our panel for the day. And get this thing out of here. There's a 1-inch that goes to the pool pump, the pool sub panel. So we just need to tie that into the bottom of the panel. Paul was already out here yesterday. He got the ground rods already in the ground and we got our number 4 bear across. So we're good with that already. Let's get the bags on. Get this opened up. We're gonna need 2-inch. Always try and stay clean throughout the day so you don't end up with a huge mess at the end of the day. So I just save this box and then it'll sit right here to try and catch the stucco as it falls when we break it out. We need to pull the cable out of the way. Looks like it's fresh stucco to some degree. We're getting a pool put in the backyard. That'll be good. This will need to come off. We're gonna have to go up with this conduit. Get this strap off there. Cut this silicone out of the way. There we go. The THHN's actually just going straight into the panel. There's nothing on the back side, so we're gonna need to get one of those 90s or get a little bit of flex to go into the back of it. Yeah, see that? There was nothing on the back side, so we're gonna have to fix that. I always save these until I actually see SDG&Es show up, because if for some reason they have to cancel on us and we need to put this back and I've already thrown them in the dumpster, we need to keep this closed for now because we're gonna break all the stucco out right now. We know that our meter cannot be below 48 to center and the highest breaker cannot be above 6'7". So I already know it's 38 inches. It's just 10 inches right there to center a meter. Okay, 48 would be 38 inches below the panel. Gives us bottom of the panel. And the reason why I want to go as low as possible is there's a conduit right here. And I want this panel to go as low as I possibly can so that I have the extra wire right here. It gives me extra wire the lower I go to make sure that those wires can land on the new panel, because if the wires aren't long enough, we're gonna have to trench all the way out. So we need to make sure that we lower and make sure that those wires are long enough to land on the lugs of the new panel that we're putting in right now. Utility company already came, disconnected our power here, so we're safe. Wires are safed off. On top of that, just in case anything were to happen in the handhole. So I got 38 inches right here, 38 right there. That's gonna be perfect. This won't be in the way. So we just kind of scribe that across, right? We're gonna go all the way over to here with it. What I always do, there's a flange on the edge of the panel on both sides, right? So I'm gonna break out the stucco past that flange, right about there, right? And then we're just gonna follow that all the way down. I just wanna kind of give myself a good idea of where I'm going. So we go right here. That way when I get the roto hammer out, I have a good idea of where my mark out is. Now the panel is to the upper flange, about 41. So I always add like 8 inches. So I'm gonna go to 50 because we're gonna need to mess with all the wires up there and get them in the panel. So we need a little extra space up top. Actually on this one, we have access on the back, so I don't need to go that high. So let's go to like 43. So from that bottom mark, we're gonna go right there, 43. And it doesn't have to be exact, it just has to be close. So we're right on it. 43. So my mark is right about there, right? All right. I'm gonna start at the top. Just go nice and easy. Just make a clean cut. We got wires right behind there, so we want to make sure we hit those, you know what I mean? There you go. Just like that. I try and put the box here, catch as much of the trash as we can, right? See this right here? Whoever did this just ran THHN, no protection, straight into the top of the panel. We can't have that. So I'm gonna have to add some flex to get down into the top of the panel right there. That's no bueno. So I always try and save the chicken wire. Here, it doesn't matter as much, except for these little pieces on the edge, because that's gonna get folded over where the new panel is. So we can actually clip this one here, right there on that edge, because the new flange is gonna go right there. So we wanna save these on the edge right there. Get that broken off. These ones can just fold over like this, just in case he wants the chicken wire on the bottom. You're gonna wanna take these screws loose. I have to go to the back side real quick. Get those out of there. That way this thing can spin. That's what we got going on. There's our new ground ready to pop in the bottom of the panel. There you go. So that can spin off now. Come right off of there. Let's get this cleared out. All this putty out of here. Take our beater. Then we got to come here, get all these staples, nails back, so that the new panel can go in there. Little baby nails. Come right out. There you go. So we'll make sure all our nails are out. I just use my dikes, I know. So we want to try and save the paper if we can. Don't damage it there. All right. Let's get rid of this old panel. Wires are disconnected, so we know we're good. Dead. So what I'm gonna do now is label all these. garage 20, lights, 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 230, 220, and 20. And then we have bathroom and bathroom. And those are 20 and 20. Just want to get those all leveled real quick. So we'll loosen these all up. So this panel is staying 100 or 125. They are not going up to a 200 on this one. The other thing I always look for is to see if there's any white wires that are landed on the breakers. A lot of times they'll use a black and then a white for a 240 volt circuit. So if that's the case, I always like to label them first so that we don't accidentally tie that into the neutral bar. But here, as you can see, we don't have any of that, so we're good. So this one right here is garage, and then I put 20 amp on it so we know what size breaker it is. If the wire is the wrong size for the breaker, or if the breaker is the wrong size for the wire, as one YouTube guy corrected me, I will change it. So if it's a 14 gauge wire and it's landed on a 20 amp breaker, unless it goes to the AC or some other motor load that is an exception, lights LTS 15, I will change it. It's probably overkill to be labeling all these like this, but I do it anyways. That's AC, and I know that because you can see the conduit goes straight over to the AC unit. It's a brand new AC unit to go along with his new pool that he's got over there. These are labeled appliance. I bet you these are kitchen countertop circuits. The 2 for that. Just gonna go APP for now. All right, so what I usually do here is I'll just pull all the breakers out. I save these old ones because there's a place that will take them. If I bring him a whole bucket, he'll pay me for these old breakers. Get these out of the way. I'll especially save the main, because sometimes you get emergency calls and they need a new main breaker. And I'll tell them, don't worry, I don't charge them for a brand new breaker. But if it's an emergency and I can't get my hands on one, it's super helpful. Let's get rid of this cover too. Get this out of here. Got it. Once these are out of the way, we just cut them. That way we're not wasting time loosening all those screws. Get rid. I'll also save this bussing, because that bussing for a Zinsco panel is actually in pretty good shape, dude. So we'll save that. See that? Okay. So let's get this nasty one out of here. As you can see, we're good to go there. So these grounds, I'll just take each one like this. Make sure they're separated. It's a little trick right here. They're all twisted. Use your drill. Chuck them up. And right there. Now they're loose. Like that. Last one. Chuck it up on there. There you go. I just want every one of them to be separate. That way they can just pull straight out of there. Like this. Oh, the breeze feels so good. There you go. There's our panel out of there. This is where I will check to make sure that there's nothing on the studs, because that new panel is going to go right on the stud there. We want to make sure everything's out of the way for when we put that together. We got to get this rigid off of here. Let's get our big channies. There's a coupling right down there, which is actually super helpful. Still treat them like they're hot, because you never know, man. You never know. There we go. If you can see, the knockout is offset. That one was center. So what we do here is I ordered this from Walters like this with an offset in it. They prefab bend it for me exactly where I need it. Then all I got to do is cut it to my length, put some couplings on it, and walk away. So it's pretty cool. We do have to cut this though. This is going to be in our way. There's our rigid. I don't know if we're going to be able to get that in the right angle there. There it went. Looks like that. There we go. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get that offset in that tight of a spot. 16 inches. I could do 18 inches. See if we can get that. We're gonna have to cut it like right there and there. Put a coupling on it. Right there. 18 inches right there. Probably go a little shy of that. Is that right there? One. There it is. Sure we don't have any sharp edges on there. Let's double check it. We have our rigid coupling and connector. There's one side. This is the panel side. Oh. Don't mess it up, Steven. Come on. Let's go this way. One side. There it is. There's our piece. That's what I was saying, there's threads, but like I said, it will still grab. I've done it a million times, and I'm not chancing accidentally cutting through that wire. So we'll get this on here. We are going to the right side, correct? No, we're going to the left. Other way. Other way, buddy. Now, I'm actually not going to lock this down yet because I want a little bit of play on it. See right there? That'll stop you dead in your tracks. One little thing like that. Where's our sledge? There it is. Another thing is sometimes this isn't wide enough by just like 1/8 of an inch. Oh, this is fine. That's 14 1/4 dead on. But you can beat it a little bit on the top and the bottom, and it usually opens up just enough for you to get the panel in there. I'm gonna knock these out. So we're gonna use, let's say, there we go. We'll use some of these 1/2 inch right there. That should be enough, huh? Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. That's exact. 2 extra just to be safe. Put this ladder right here. This whole panel open. the screws back in the holes so we don't lose them. My wife made these amazing protein muffins. They're like chocolatey. Dude, so good. I love that girl. Not just because she makes me food. We'll knock out for the 1 inch afterward. But let's get all these out now. 1, 2, 3, 8. So we got these little bushings right here. Snap in the top. There's our 1 inch. 1. Knock this one out. 3/4. There it is. We're gonna need to chop that down a little bit. Want to make sure we do it dead on. Get our mark right here. What I'm doing is looking at this level here. I'm gonna cut it right to that. That's where this is gonna be at. Just wanna bend this so it goes in nice and easy and sticks right out. Where we're not gonna fight it. Should have enough wire. You can check right here. Make sure we got enough wire. About 16 inches. Yep, 16's up here. So we know the lugs are down here. We're good to go. We got enough wire. Let's get our impact ready. So when you do this part, you want to make sure you already have one screw ready to go, especially if you're doing it on your own. Already set up and set somewhere where you can grab it. And then make sure everything's out of the way. So that nothing's gonna hold you up, you know? And then we can fold the paper back. That would mess us up right there. Let's go. Once that's in, need a little tappy tap to get it down on here. Put our lock ring on right away. Okay, and then one screw. Let's see how level this stud bay is. That's pretty close, not too shabby. So I think I want to do this corner right here. Yeah, let's go right there. Let's go grab that other impact. Pretty dang close, dude. We're gonna do this right now before we lock it in. And it's done. This is gonna be a nightmare to try and get after. We gotta go get a different impact. That's our other impact. Need an MA on there real quick. Oh, here it is. It was here the whole time. I knew I had it. For these ones, I actually do not like to glue them in case this ever needs to get changed later. It's downward facing, so water's never gonna get into it. So I'll just leave it without glue on it. But we need to go up with this just a hair. Oh, we got the screw in there. Just so we can get this MA on there. There it is. And then we will strap it right there against the wall. Lock this bad boy in. Ah. Too strong, snapped it right off. Bummer. Put it right here instead. Come on, Steven. You have got to be kidding me. I do it twice. What a rookie, bro. There we go. All right, that's good. Get the other one on this side. There's that one. One more washer. There it is. Good to go. Tighten our lock rings. Oh, that's a bummer. Snap that one too, guys. I need to stop using so much torque. Just use an FA with a nipple. I'll change that out to a chase nipple later so it's not sticking up so high. Okay, 4 screws. Now we need to shove the ground through real quick. That actually needs to go all the way up to the top. So back in there's a little chase that goes up into the panel. So that ground will go all the way through like that. We'll put a little strap on it here later. So we want to get this locked in here. There you go. Hold it in while you tighten so it doesn't slip out. We'll torque this down when we're done with everything with the torquing screwdriver to make sure everything's torqued, but that's good for now. Up and down and in there. Cold water's right here. Gonna go right there with it. Try and get it nice and clean in the back. Oh, look at that. It's almost perfect. We'll cut a little off so it's a freshie. Non-oxidation compound right here. Put that on the wire. There you go. Like I said, we'll torque all these down when we're done. For now, I just need to get them landed. Snap it in. There it goes. Let's go over here. I want to tighten up those couplings. Do not want to forget to tighten this up. Just get it snug first. So that's going to want to spin on us. So we're going to grab these sides. We'll check this one. Make sure these two are good still. I don't think it's gonna need, oh, the bottom one. There we go. We got the surge protector. Gotta pop this bad boy in there. These ones are my favorite. They're super easy. They just snap in. They go on the bus, snap in. You want it closest to the main breaker. Solar breaker's farthest away. Surge protector's closest. So we're gonna go right here, snap it, and then pop it in. Sometimes I'll check it, make sure it's seated right, pop it in. There's your whole home, just like that. Kind of try and feel which one should go where. One, try and straighten them out. 2, 3. Oh. Use one more. Go. So I want to take these out, switch them. We'll take that cold water bond back out again. And then we'll use this 3/4 for the AC. There we go. Nice and neat. For this part, I always get a fresh blade. Once that's in, straighten these all out so I can cut them all at one time. Very carefully, you don't want to go too deep with it. Give it a little score. And then right at the end, try and go, there you go. So it started right here, right to where it's at. There we go. What you don't want to do is go through the wire and then cut into the insulation that's actually over the wire. That is not what you want to do at all. Have a trash box right next to you so you can just throw it in the trash. So then what I'll do is I'll usually split them in half, just like that. Loosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One extra just in case we need it. So I got the neutrals landed same way, and then we're gonna do the grounds on the next side. So I'll just pull them out, leave everything up there except for what we need. So I'll go turn this one first, then this one right below it, then this one, and then this one, and then we got this one right here. And then I know that they're all gonna go right about like that, right? So we'll cut them all in the same spot right there. That just saves you a little time if you can get them bent and lined up. Set these. One thing I don't like to do is use an impact when I'm going to set these wires, right? Because you can't really feel exactly how tight you're getting with wires this small. You know, I know some of you have really good control with an impact, as do I, but it's really, really hard when the wires are tiny like this to feel exactly how tight that thing's getting. And you don't want to shear it off and not know it, because it'll still stay pinched right at the end right there. Okay, there's the grounds. And then we'll do these other, oh, I missed one. There we go, one more ground. Now here's a question. Do you use zip ties in an electrical panel? That's the $1 million question right there. Do you use zip ties in an electrical panel? I'm actually interested. Let's see what the live zip ties in an electrical panel or not. What do you think? Impact is no bueno for terminations. Absolutely right, Bass Blaster. 100%. No zip ties. All right, one more ground. Let's get this locked in. These need a switch right now. Switch my screwdrivers. Starting to get excited. We're almost there. Over time, you apprentices out there, you'll be able to just feel the wire and know what size it is just by feeling it, so that you know exactly where to go on your wire strippers right away without even having to guess. Neutral. Let's get our 12s. There it is. Okay. No tools left in the panel. Time for the breakers. All right, so I have a 15, 20, 20, 20 on the left side. One key thing, if they ever get solar needs to be, at least in San Diego County, solar needs to be furthest away from the main breaker. I don't know if that's a national code or not. It might be. So I usually leave both of these slots open so that if they ever get solar, they can add solar later and they don't have to move anything around. Does that make sense? So we'll do our 15 first. Make sure that's good. So if you don't know, it has these little clips on the back, clips right here. That goes in these two little notches, right? Push it all the way over. And then you're gonna wanna feel it. There you go, 15. Oh, look what I just did. I just told you something and I messed it up. So we'll just move these down here, right? And we'll go here, here, and there, right? So we wanna leave those two slots right there at the top. There you go. And then this side we have two 15s. So we're gonna start it again right here. And then my 30 right there for the AC. That one's hard to get in sometimes. Okay, so let's start with our 15 over here. I'll start with, I just loosen them all up first. What I'll do here, as I cut them, I label them. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write on here what they are. So this is LTS, right, for lights, one at a time, so we don't mess them up. Like I said, we'll come back and torque them after. So that one is lights. And then we have 20, 20, 20. So any of these right here. This one says lights as well. We'll label it LTS. Let's go a little shorter on that one. Went a little longer than I normally like to. Put that all the way in. Snug. This one says appliance. APP. So the next one's garage. That way I don't have to pick it up again. There we go. Get that in there. Make sure you're all the way in. You go right here. Like that. There we go. And that was garage. So, one side, almost done. All right, here's our 15 right here. Single 15. Gonna come out like this. What is this one? Lights. Label that LTS. It's our first one. Where's our other 15 right here? It's also lights. Says LTS. Label this one. Nope, we're missing two breakers, so we're gonna come right down here with the 30. There we go. Thought I was missing a couple. Appliance. I'm gonna switch those. I want the appliances next to each other just so it looks clean in the panel. So that one's gonna be a little shorter. Okay, so that's the appliance. And then these, yeah, these are our bathrooms. And this one will go 1, 2. Yeah, that one's a little shorter. It's all right though. Nice and clean. Wires are plenty long enough to land on the lugs for the utility company. Check and see what the torque rating is. 35 inch-pounds. This is the one that I use, the Weha. It's phenomenal. Setting tool right here. And you can see on the dial, you just turn it right there to whatever. Here we need 35. Once it's set, you put this in. There it is, locks in. And then just go through all these. All right, those are torqued. We gotta do the neutrals and the grounds now. Branch, neutral, and equipment ground bar. So just 20 on those. Well, that was the inspector. He passed us, we're good to go. As soon as the stucco is repaired and the labeling is all done on the dead front, the inspector will then come back for final inspection and he'll pass us. SDG&E just showed up. We got power back on. We're gonna turn this bad boy on. Let's go ahead and check voltage real quick. Make sure we're good. There we go. 240. Hot to hot. Let's go to neutral. 120. Neutral. 120. There we go. Good to go. Let's turn them all on. You can see surge protector's on. Oh, nice. It's a nice panel, dude. I like it. Nice and easy. This is really cool. It's a pretty easy setup, dude, to have a smart panel. These are our smart breakers right here. And this is it right here. This is what makes the panel a smart panel. There's the back of the panel. That's what we're gonna rip out right there. It's got PVC, just super helpful. We can use some string to burn through that one and cut it. So we can put our 2 ground rods in, 1, 2, 6 feet apart. Get our panel right there. He's got a full-blown smart setup. He's gonna have the panel, the breakers are smart, the EV charger is smart. Everything connects directly to his phone. Yeah. Where he can control everything. He can see the amperages on every breaker. Get our jackhammer just in case we can't get the ground rods in. Get it before the utility turns off the power on, Paul. All right, so what are we looking at here, Paul? We need to be 6 feet apart, right?
Yeah, I gotta go more that way.
What's that you got up there?
Goes right on the ground rod.
I think it's pretty cool, dude. Need to go grab my earplugs real quick. Roto hammer. Tell you what, you young guys out there, I've been doing this almost 20 years now. Wear your earplugs, man. I got ringing in my ears that won't go away now. High frequency hearing loss is not something you want to mess around with. Got the first one in, Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, it was quick. Right there. Let's check out our panel, huh? Leviton. Super nice of them to send us a panel. There we go. We always keep the box for all the trash. There she is. All in one. Love it. We got our sticker. There's our main breaker. Utility side. This bad boy opened up. Always put the screw back in so we don't lose it. We get all of it opened up. Another thing we want to do, I got a call from a lineman the other day who said that right in this section right here, someone had knocked this out so the conduit could come into the utility side, and they had the panel upside down, and this piece, the knockout, actually fell up into the bussing up in here. Well, they flipped the panel back over just like this, and they set it in, they did all their work. They didn't know that it was crossed across the bussing, and as soon as utility company went to land the wires, boom, it blew up. They rang it out and they didn't get any tone, and what we think happened was that the paint actually was causing it to where you couldn't read with a continuity tester, but the electricity was enough to make it through the edges of the paint, or the knockout moved something when they hit the panel or something, and it moved and then it blew up. We don't know exactly how it happened, but we want to be able to check everything before they come out to energize. They actually already came out and de-energized the panel, as you can see, so we're good to go on that. Open this whole thing up. Super clean panel, dude. Look at that.
Dang.
You like that?
That's pretty cool.
So looks like the hots and the neutrals all land for each individual breaker so that they can read what's going on with it. So this is a 125, guys. He didn't need a 200. This has come up in a couple of the other videos. Why would you install a 125 amp? Well, the utility company would have required him to trench from here all the way out, rip up all his pavers, go across his grass all the way down here. He would have had to dig all this up all the way over here to this handhole right here. That would be incredibly expensive to have to tear all that up. So he did not want to do that. So that's why we're doing a 125. It's still an upgrade, just an upgrade of 25 amps instead of 100 amps. All right, I'm gonna start breaking this out. Paul's getting the ground wire in there. Now, as we've talked about in other videos, the utility company requires the meter to be no lower than 48 inches. So on this panel, we have about 10 3/4, 11 inches. So there's 48 right here. So minus 11 inches, we're gonna be right at 39. That gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 4'2". We could go to 38 on this one because it's a little bit higher. So it's kind of right in here is where the center of the meter will be. Just above 48 is what we want. Measure the panel. So we're looking at like 44.5. So I'll probably go 46 because we have access on the back. 46 up high. It's right about there. And as I've said in other videos, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be close. So these pavers right here, these are gonna have to go because we need our clear and level workspace in front of the panel, but we can deal with that later. Get it somewhat close. As I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're about to chip it out. So he does not need this anymore. There's nothing in here. So we're actually gonna get rid of this for him. Mark this out right about there. Give ourselves plenty of space to work on this. I like to open it up so I can see the whole stud because we got to clear all the chicken wire, all the nails, everything off so the new panel sits nice and flush. Always make sure you have your safety glasses on. What you want to make sure is that you don't use a grinder on this. What happens is if you use a grinder, you're cutting the chicken wire as well, and the stucco guy needs the chicken wire to hold the new stucco. So the first panel that I ever did, I cut the chicken wire, and he came out and he was like, dude, now I have to break open more stucco so that I can grab onto the chicken wire and then splice it. Just break it out, right? Mm-hmm. And then I can have that old chicken wire to be set up with. So man, this is some pretty strong stucco. It's not like the stuff we're used to working with. Usually this stuff just falls apart, dude. There we go. Good, good. What's that? Oh, an old dryer outlet. That's cool. You like panel upgrades, Paul?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Some
like
of them better than others.
I like panel upgrades. All right, so then I want to make sure you label everything as we go through. So we have labels here. We do want to make sure that they're the same. They're literally disconnected. Just double check. Yeah, it's all dead, dude. That'd be blowing up right now. Just put it in the trash. It's the stove. Get all these out of the way for now so we can get rid of all these. I just cut all these out. Sometimes those screws are all stripped and it takes forever to unscrew them, so just get around them and hack them all out because you're only losing about 3/4 of an inch. I will loosen the big one though. Cold water bond. All right, you want to start pulling off some pieces of tape so we can label these quick. So we just use a numbering system and then we label it on a piece of cardboard so that we know what number 1 was. We just label each one 1, 2, 3, 4. or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That way it's nice and easy and quick. This one's 9.
Uh-huh.
And these have all been 20s up till now, right?
Yeah.
So all the rest of these are 8.
Yeah. Which we don't have to label them, right? Because we know.
I guess you're right. Yeah, we can just leave those ones.
Those are 8.
It's a waste of time. Let's go get these wires out of here. Go on the back side. Show some ground so these can go straight out of the panel. Nice and easy. These old screws out of here. Get these ones out now. Goes. Don't need that. Got lots of nails in here, bro. You got the sledgehammer? Time to just give it a little beat like that to make sure it's wide enough for when we put the new panel in. Just take the string, get it where you want it, and then just carefully go back and forth till it starts grabbing. Feel it burning through it. Can you go on the other side, Paul?
I still see it.
Huh?
I still see it right there.
Now do it on your side. Keep going. See it burning through there. Right there. Just like that. Snap it off. Good to go. So you can see we didn't burn all the way through. That's what you want right there. To not go all the way through it, and then it'll just snap once you get close. You got an MA? You got some glue? Just a tiny bit. Doesn't need a ton. Here we go. All the way on there. All right, we got to knock out the bottom, Paul. And then I got to double check for 2-pole breakers because we got a whole bunch of shared neutrals. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 15s and 3 20s. These are all the breakers. 2 single 15s. You got 120 here. I gotta go get more breakers, dude. Let me help you get the panel in before I go get those breakers. Which one are we doing right here? This one. This is where you really want to watch out. Make sure you don't lose this knockout down in the bottom of the panel. Because like I said, he called me and he said that the knockout fell down and over here, and they didn't know it, and they flipped over the panel and boom, when they turned it on. So always watch out for that and double check. Got that? There you go. Got it. This one has some play in it. And the studs. It's a nice panel, dude. I like it. Maybe we'll do it at my house next. Oh, broke it, baby. I do it every time, dude. You know I do. Every time I break one. Nice and clean, my bro. Get the ground landed. I'm gonna go get those breakers real quick. I just talked to them, Paul, and you see this N right here?
Yeah.
On the breaker, that N, that's the neutral for a 2-pole breaker that you land on. So right here you got 2 to land, so this N right here is the one that we land on, not the other one. So get the ground done and then get the wires in the top. I didn't wait for you to knock the top out, did I? Before we got it in. You can get them, right? You can get your hand up there.
Do we need steel tie straights?
Huh?
Steel tie connector straights?
I have a few, yeah. Okay. But I'll grab a couple more. Never hurts to have more in the van. Should I grab you some new boots and new pants at the same time? I ordered new shirts. So I got new collared shirts and I got new hats, and I know you like the flex fit ones, so I ordered you your special ones.
Those ones are more comfortable.
All I ask is that you buy new jeans. That's it. Don't you walking around look like a scraggly electrician, dude. So you can make up the other ones. Breakers just pop in. You got your hot and you got your neutral. It's super simple to make this panel up.
Yeah, if it's a 2-pole, just hot, neutral.
So the neutral on the top is the one you're landing on.
Yeah.
Got it? And then the ground's obviously all the way down here. Very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back. Inspector just showed up. We're good to go. He just wants to see the ground landed, a picture of it. So we got to send one to him. And we rocking and rolling. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, so we're moving pretty good on this one. What's up, my friend?
How can I help you?
I got the wrong breakers. Those need to go back, but I need to get different ones. 3 2-pole 20s and 2 2-pole 15s. We are right here. So they didn't have the 2-pole 15s, unfortunately. This is a mistake on my part for not opening up the panel and looking to see how many of the breakers we're gonna need to be 2-pole. The code requires that if circuits now share a neutral, so if you have a Romex that has a black and a red and a white and a green, or brass, you know, or not brass, then copper, they need to be on a 2-pole breaker now. So if you guys didn't know, City Electric, Escondido, those guys are awesome over there. They really set us up good with this panel. All right, so we found the breakers. We got everything we need. How you doing, Paul? You want to explain how we wire these a little bit differently than a normal panel?
Yeah, all the grounds have to go down there, just the grounds.
So all the grounds down here, right? Yeah. Just the grounds? Okay. And then on this panel, it's got slots for the breakers, right?
Yeah.
Just like a normal panel. But if you look right here, let's say you're putting in a 2-pole breaker. In here, this is a hot, this is a neutral, and this is a hot. And if you notice, this last slot right here does not have any metal in there, no clips. For a 2-pole, you got to land your hot, then your neutral. This is what we were talking about earlier, where it shows the neutral. That's because that's where there's a clip right there, if you can see in there. This bottom one does not have it. So if you put the neutral on a 2-pole on that bottom one, you're gonna have nothing there, right? And then these just go in like this and shove in their slot. And you're good to go. One thing to take note of though, on the left side, it's backwards. So see how this one, the gold screw, and then silver, gold, silver, gold, silver? On this side, it starts on silver. So make sure you don't make that mistake. So obviously, if we flip it this way, you're gonna have hot, neutral, and then hot. So these ones look like they're upside down, but they're not. Right here, you have gold and then silver, gold, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver. So the hot goes on the gold, the neutral goes on the silver. And then right here, we have nice and easy surge protector. So this is a nice one. Where did you have it? 7 and 5?
Yeah.
Right there. So that goes right there. Get it in. And it just snaps right in there. Nice and neat. So SCG showed up, as you guys can see. They landed their wires in here. So we're heated up to right here, the bus bars and the breaker, but the breaker's off. So we're safe to work here. Let's just make sure we don't walk away from the panel. All right, the next step, whole home energy monitor. This is what makes the panel smart. This is it right here. Here's the CTs for monitoring right here. So these are gonna go around the main bus bars down at the bottom of the panel. With these, you really wanna make sure that you're installing these with the arrow facing the load. So that's what it shows right there, right there. So we'll double check that in the documentation, that that's the direction they want it. But usually it faces the load. So 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network needed. Most home networks have both the 2.4 and the 5 nowadays. So this has sticky back, so I'm assuming this is gonna go inside the panel. This is probably the Wi-Fi dongle right here. So I can't get in there while Paul's making the panel up. We're gonna start working on the EV charger. All right, let's check this bad boy out. So this is it right here. Leviton 48 amp Wi-Fi enabled EVSE. Let's check this thing out. Super nice EV charger, man. Oh, nice. We got our back plate here. Just take this off. This is what's gonna mount on the wall. Take our back plate off. Put the screws back in so we don't lose them. Always put the screws back in. Right, Paul?
What's that?
Always put the screws back in.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't lose them. Looks like it has a Cat 5 connection that you can hardwire it in to your network. It's kind of cool. It does have Wi-Fi capability, so you don't have to do that. So this charger with this whip right here, the owner just wants it right next to the panel. So we're actually gonna drill out where that Sharpie mark is right there. You can see that right into the side of the panel. And then these wires will be long enough. Paul, grab a 1-inch hole saw, and or maybe even a little bit bigger than a 1-inch hole saw. Grab a couple different ones. Let's drill that wood out, and then we'll drill through, and we'll get an SO cord connector on this, and we'll poke it into the side of the panel. Go forward and then backward to blow it out. Nice and level. There it is. Good to go. There we go. Now I want to mount this so we know exactly where the charger is going to go. Don't lose the screws. There we go. Kind of awesome. We don't have to do anything inside the charger. For a setup where you're going, like, let's say across the other side of the garage, you could just mount a junction box right here and then run to where you need to go. Go nice and easy. There we go. We're gonna go like this. We'll put one strap on here, Paul. So I'm gonna strip this open. Careful you don't go through the wire with this SO cord. It's super soft. That's what you want to see where it hasn't cut through yet. Very careful so you don't split it open. Then it should slide off. There you go. Just like that. And like that. All right, so we got it in there. There's the charger. It's in the panel. He's gonna wire it up real quick, and then we will turn all of it on as soon as we get the Wi-Fi thing set up. Those ones should already be perfectly set up, huh? We will torque everything when we're done. Land that down there and we'll be done. I'm gonna put one strap on here so that doesn't move. There it is. So the instructions say black and blue wire must be on A phase and red and blue. So on here, black and blue and then red and blue. So black and blue goes on A, right? Just like that.
And then that's the load?
Yeah, and the arrow, let's double check if it says where the arrow goes. So with logo sticker and arrow on the embossed K, arrow L facing the main breaker or the lug, so facing up.
Yeah.
So facing the load is what they want. Make sure you got your leathers on and safety glasses. You never know, man. So blue and black around the A phase with the arrow facing up. So it's got to be this way, facing up. Yep, toward the main. We want to go right here, come around. There's A, just like that. Got it, just like that. Got our A and our B. They're both good to go. And for the module, so it does say to install this at the bottom of the panel, so we're gonna knock out the bottom here. Paul,
Yep.
Do this one down here, like right here. There we go. Got that? So this say install it with this side facing up. We're gonna go like right there. There we go. That's enough. We can go behind there.
Yeah.
And land on a 2-pole breaker right there. So we just saw something on this panel, everybody. So the way that this works is on the right side. The phasing is black, red, black, red, black, red. But on this side, no, on this side it's the same. So, but what you have to make sure is that you have your A and your B. So this is gonna be black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black. So in this scenario, this is red on the top where this breaker is, and this is black on the bottom. So you have to pay attention to that. It does show in here the phasing that we have going on. So it shows if the panel is one direction or flipped over. It's really the same. So just remember that the bottom screws and the top screws are black, both sides, and then count from there. But you have to make sure, especially for the monitoring, that you have the black and the red correct, because those are going to coincide with the CTs that you have mounted on the bus bars. And then what it says in here, it doesn't say a specific port, but it just says to start with starting with port 1. So we're going to take a oh, it's just one clip. I didn't even see that. So it's one clip. I thought it was 2 separate clips, just one clip. And you want to start up in there in port 1. That's all it says. Now it's going to monitor. So we should be good to go, Paul, huh? Nice and clean, but does that make sense? So black, red, black, red. Okay, let me get my gloves on and we'll fire this thing off. We'll blow it out first. And then we just need a KO seal up at the top, dude. Turn this bad boy on. Ready? There it goes. Cycle it once. There it is. Surge protector's on. Let's check voltage. 240. Nice and clean. See if the monitor, does it have a light on it or something? Oh, we gotta turn it on, that's right. Ready? On. Don't see any lights on it, but that doesn't mean that it's not on. Well, let's just turn. There we go. Everything's on. We're good to go. Oh yeah. Look at that. Wi-Fi thing's blinking now. There we go. There it is. Let's coil these up. Make it look somewhat decent. It's a pretty easy setup, dude, to have a smart panel. You'd think it would be a lot more difficult. It's pretty cool. I might even put one of these in my house, bro. And it does say that these wires can just sit next to Romex with no issues, so we're good to go. All good? All right, sorry, let's do one last check. Let's check the output on all of them real quick. 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, 120. Let's go to this side. 120, my friend. Look at that. Let's just go ahead and check. 120 hot to neutral. Got him torqued, powered up. Let's go get him with the app. You go ahead, you can clean it all up. Close everything up. All right, I'm gonna go grab him, run through this with him, download the app, and we'll get everything set up. All right, so setting this thing up in the Leviton app is super easy. Click the plus button. We're gonna add a device. It's looking for it right now. So we're gonna do the load center first. So we got the whole home energy monitor and the smart breaker data hub. Adding this, and then you go through, name the panel, how many positions it is. We just have to run through this entire thing, and then you can see all your breakers, monitor them, see the amperage in them and all that, and then you're set up. So we're gonna run through this, and then we'll set up the EV charger as well, and we will be good to go. So what we did here, the Wi-Fi, it was not flashing green. When we're going through the setup mode, it wants it to be flashing green. So there's a little red button on the bottom that you have to hold for 7 seconds. Wait for the light to turn amber, and then let go, and it starts flashing green, and then you can continue in the discovering. And right here, so we got it connected to Wi-Fi, and then it immediately started asking, do you have smart breakers? We said yes. And then now it is actually discovering all of the smart breakers in the panel right now. And I'm assuming we're gonna have to go through and label each one what it is, so that the app knows exactly what each breaker is, and then you can control each one from the app and monitor each one. A pretty cool setup. So we're all set up. This is phenomenal. So you can see on phase A, he's pushing about 117 volts. Phase B, 118 volts. We're gonna turn off this breaker. And look at that. Turned it off. You can see right here that it's got the red light. See that right there? So just turn that off. Now let's see. Turn it back on. There you go. Control everything from your phone. This is really cool. Let's see. Let's go turn the dishwasher off. There it is. This one's off. I'll turn it back on. And there it goes. Turned it on. Phenomenal. So in here, it's going to show you your usage, day, week, month, total estimated cost, You got schedules that you can set up if you want to turn them on and off daily. Settings in here, what position the breaker is in the panel. You can identify the breaker so you know which one is which. If you ever get them mixed up, this shows us our panel view. So it shows all the breakers, where they're at in the panel, and we are good to go. And if you're installing the Leviton 48 amp charger, all you do is go in the app, you tell it what size breaker you put in there. So for here, it's a 60 amp breaker. It's gonna charge at 48 amps and then run through the same setup steps and you should be ready to charge. So good to go. Well, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching.